Alright, in this video we're going to continue with the snow globe series. We have talked about smoothing, we've talked about UV mapping, and hopefully we didn't get bogged down there. There's a lot of new concepts. But in this next few videos we want to just press forward and take what we've learned and start building and lighting and texturing our scene. So that's where we're at. There may not be a lot of new things, but a lot of this will be repetitive. But let's get started, and I'll show you how I might approach this scene. First of all, I have taken my base, what I have so far, and I've gone to Edit, Delete by Type, History. I've also I've scaled it down, so it's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 units large. Next thing I want to do is put a table in here. I don't like the idea of it just suspended in space. So let's make a polygon plane here. I'm going to go to the channel box. On the width, I'll give it something like 40. The height, something like 70. A big farm table maybe. It doesn't have to be that wide, but I'll leave it. And I could take the edges and extrude down, or I could have created this with a cube. But when I do my final animation, I want to be zoomed in here because that snowman's going to be pretty small. So I'm not going to worry about this front edge. But I do want to put some sort of material on here. But before I do, I want to check the UV map. So I'll go into Windows UV Editor. And you see that the UVs, which there's a UV for every vertex in here. But they're laid out and they look exactly like our tabletop. That's good. We can check that by looking at the checker box, and yes, these are squares, they're not rectangles or stretched, so our UV map's set. Okay. Next we want to make a material for this table. We'll right click and assign new material. I'm going to make a blend. And the blend did not come up, but I can see it up here. It's called blend 7. I'm going to change this to table mat or table material. Okay, so we could go and now change the color. We could leave it at that if you wanted a plain tabletop. At this point I want to make a wood texture. I could import an image since it's UV mapped. I could go into the color, into the file, and from the file choose, I happen to have a barnwood thing I was playing with earlier, and you see I could put a texture on here, and this texture is repeating. So if I go and I begin playing with that in my repeat, you can see that I could do a lot of things with that. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to open up my node editor and bring down my table material so I can see it and map it. Let's try that one more time. Table material, map. And we see we have this barnwood. This is the file node that we brought in. This is the place texture node, and it's going into the color. I want to take these two and delete them. And it's going to take us back to just the regular blend. And instead, I want to create our own wood texture. And so I'm going to click on color, and this time I'm going to click on fractal. And as I click on fractal, you notice in the node editor a new fractal node appears and it's connected to color. Also driving that fractal is a place 2D texture node. Okay, and if I select it in the node editor, it selects it here in the attribute editor. So if you have enough screen space, this is great. If you have 2 monitors, it's even better. You could have your attribute editor or your hypershade on one, and but we're limited in our real estate here. So what I want to do is try to make some sort of wood texture out of this fractal. And I'm not going to get too complicated here. I'm just going to lighten it up some, maybe take the first I want to change the color and I want to stretch it. So to do that, let's go to our, what determines the stretching is your place 2D node. So I'm going to repeat it in my U direction, and I'll repeat it by about 10, and it makes it look all stretched. So I'm going to go back to the fractal, maybe take the amplitude down some, take the ratio up some, and then I want to go down here to the color balance. I'm still in the fractal node, and I can change that white and black to something else. And this white color I'm going to change to kind of like a dark reddish, brownish, grayish, something like that. Maybe a dark cherry color. Now that we have this fractal done, we can go and apply that fractal to our bump as well. You need a bump node in between the fractal and the normal camera. And the best way to create one is to go to your bump mapping and click the chip here. And I'm just going to, it doesn't matter, I'm going to click a cloth, and I'm going to see if I can make this bigger for you. Alright, so now you see it placed a bump 2D node in between my my shader here, my texture here, and so what I want to do is I want to delete the cloth that I just made, and I want to bring this fractal over and its out color into the bump value. And this is, before I was saying it can only take one channel, and that's true. And see, I'm taking the out color, which is 3 channels RGB, and it's saying no way, I'm not accepting that. You can only pull in one channel, so I would have to open up this out color and pick one of my 3 channels, and I'm going to pick the red channel and go to the bump value, and that will allow it. Okay, I'm also going to take the same fractal, and this time I can go from the out color. I don't have to go from a single channel. The color will take 3 channels. Alright, so now we have our fractal feeding the color and the bump, and now we can see the bump.